Good morning, soon to be afternoon, folks. This is Tim Reese back at Volunteer State Community College in Gallatin, Tennessee for game one of today's or this weekend's conference series between the Bucks of Motlow State and the Pioneers of Volunteer State. This is the ninth conference series of the year for each team. TCCAA action ends this weekend in conference play. All but four teams will be finished after today's games. This series will conclude tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. with a 9-inning contest, and Jackson State versus Roane State will also conclude tomorrow. But this is a very important series between these two teams, as it was a year ago. Pioneers are currently in sixth place in the conference with a 13-11 conference record, and Motlow State is right behind them in seventh place with an 11-12 conference record. And depending on how these three games go, the Pioneers can stay in sixth place, or with some help from Cleveland State could move up to fifth place, or they could fall all the way to seventh if they drop three games to the Motlow State Bucks as they did a year ago. And that is significant because when the conference tournament begins on May 7th, the first two games on Sunday are play-in games between 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you want to stay away from having to play that play-in game. If you're in the top six, then you're automatically already in the two-and-out tournament that starts on Monday. So with me today is Samuel Park. Let me bring Samuel in. He's a student here at Volunteer State. Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Tim.
Okay. Welcome back to the broadcast. We'll also have a special guest a little bit later on. He's already in the press box. Joe Garofalo, a big baseball fan, not an alumni of Vol State, but he lives close by, and he is a baseball man, loves baseball. So we'll visit with Joe Garofalo. I'm sure you will be very entertained by my buddy Joe. So we'll talk to Joe a little bit later on. But the field's a little bit wet. We've got players out using rakes, and did not take batting practice this morning.
Got another chance of rain around two, just ahead of game two today.
Is that right?
40% chance for Gallatin. If you're in the Goatsville area, you're going to get hit probably. I think it was a higher chance. I think it was around 60 when I looked.
Well, these games originally were scheduled for Friday and Saturday, and Coach McGuire, who has to be a weatherman, has to look at the entire weekend to see when the best 2 days that go back-to-back would be to try to get in as many games as possible. You have Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday to get the three-game series in. Motlow State, thankfully, is a fairly close competitor, about an hour and a half away from Gallatin, as they are from Tullahoma, Tennessee. So they'll be just driving up and back for today's doubleheader, scheduled 2 7-inning contests and then a 9-inning game beginning tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. We are on Channel 19 today as well on television.
Really?
As well as the Vol State Sports Network on YouTube and Twitter. Thank you for joining us today for this last regular season series. 23 ball players on the current roster for Volunteer State will be recognized tomorrow on Sophomore Day, as they will be playing in their last regular season ball game. So we will try to live stream that beginning right around 12:30, maybe 12:35 tomorrow afternoon. So go to early church, get your church in, and then come to the ballpark or join us on the Vol State Sports Network. We'll also be on Channel 19 again tomorrow, along with YouTube and Twitter. Well, let's get to the Toyota of Gallatin starting lineups. First for the visiting Bucks from Motlow State with an overall record of 23-19, and as I said, 11-12 in conference play. Leading off playing shortstop, Irvin Hernandez. Batting second, playing right field, John Hall. The left fielder is Caleb Valdez, and he will hit in the 3-hole. Julius Scarce will play center field and bat fourth. Gabe Seibert, the second baseman, batting fifth. Jackson Cawthorn, catcher, will bat sixth. J.B. Bell is the designated hitter today, and he will hit seventh. Tate Van Hooser will bat eighth and play first base, and Tucker Allen will bat ninth and play third. And on the mound for Motlow State, Jake Gully, Gulley. Jake Gully is a 6 foot, 185-pound sophomore right-handed pitcher from Florence, Kentucky. That is just south of Cincinnati, right there in northern Kentucky. Went to Highlands High School. He has a record of 3-3, a 4.60 ERA, which is seventh in the conference. He has 12 appearances, 7 starts, 2 complete games, 43 innings, 42 hits, has struck out 52 batters. Opponents are hitting .250 off of Jake Gully. And he will face head coach Jim McGuire's lineup that goes like this, pretty similar to what it's been in the past. Ethan Huddleston will lead off and play shortstop. Jake Burris, the center fielder, batting second. Landon Godsey, the Belmont commitment, will be at first base, batting third. Trevecca Nazarene commitment, Jace Mizell in right field, and he is also the home run leader for the conference with 16 home runs, and he'll hit cleanup. Carter Vrabel on an 8-game hitting streak will bat fifth and play third base. Tanner Bumbelow, the DH today, hitting sixth. Matt Hall at second base, batting seventh. Big Jay Charla out in left field, hitting eighth, and Braden Vineyard will be behind the plate and bat ninth. And on the mound for his 13th start of the season, Country Cade McKee from Georgetown, Kentucky. Number 36, he is a redshirt sophomore. He is number 4 in the league in ERA at 4.17. Has a 4-3 record, 1 complete game, and in the National Junior College stats, that 4th win against Cleveland, which was the complete game, is not shown there. If you look his record up, it shows 3-3, but he's actually 4-3, 58 innings. He has struck out 48 batters, and he has been the number 1 starter for Coach McGuire since the season began, and he's somebody you can count on. He will give you some innings and battle. He doesn't throw hard, but he does keep the hitters off balance. So the Pioneers are looking for a good start here in game 1. A lot of clouds in the sky.
That flag ain't moving out at center field.
It'll move here in a little bit, I believe, Samuel.
Maybe.
It's a tip. I haven't been to too many games here that that there's been no wind, but we're right at the end of April, and we'll have baseball today.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty good day yesterday. A little bit of rain in the morning, and that soaked the field a little bit. I think Coach McGuire was kind of surprised by that, but also had a dense fog this morning here in Sumner County, and that put a little more moisture on this infield. So they'll be clumping up a bit out there in the field. So we are 5 minutes away from game time. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back on the Vol State Sports Network. Welcome back to Volunteer State Community College. Pioneer Field is located on the campus of Vol State here in Gallatin, Tennessee. A lot of improvements that head coach Jim McGuire in his second year with the Pioneers have made here. Brand new Toyota of Gallatin scoreboard out there in left center field. Beautiful looking scoreboard, and thanks to Toyota of Gallatin, one of our top sponsors who has provided scoreboards for not only baseball but also softball, and will provide brand new scoreboards in Pickle Fieldhouse for basketball as well. Head coach McGuire has also gotten company Line to Line. Bill Marbett and Stephen Dodson have put up padding and screens, netting all around in front of the dugout, in front of the bullpens, and thanks to Line to Line, along with Game Time Sports Field, who has put a whole new load of dirt out there in the infield that pitcher coach Braden Kale is still trying to manicure out there by third base. Also like to thank our other sponsors. MGM Industries provided brand new windows for our remodeled scoreboard, along with Right Rug Flooring. They've put in new carpet squares up in the press box as well. And while I'm at it, I'll thank my lovely wife, Susan, who is the supervisor for the paint job up here in the wood paneling. And it's looking very, very nice up here and very homey. I felt very comfortable up here all season long. So we thank those folks for their contributions to Pioneer Baseball. Also to Framework Athletics for the use of their facility here in Hendersonville, owned by Zach Duke, former Major League pitcher, and Ryan McDuffie, the co-owner of CrossFit Hendersonville. Framework Athletics, located at 104B Jessica Lauren Court. Thank you for the use of their facility for both the Pioneers and the Lady Pioneers. When there's inclement weather, they can't get on the field. They can get into do their hitting and pitching, throwing, and working out at Framework Athletics. Also, thank you to Chuck Akers, the owner of Summit Concrete, for their work on the bullpens the couple falls ago. Chuck Akers, a former player of Coach McGuire at MTSU. So you see head coach Dan McShay and head coach Jim McGuire out talking to our umpires for today. The plate umpire will be Jake Wolf, and the base umpire for game one will be Chris Judkins. I'd like to also thank Craig Senard of Dudat Communications. Hopefully we'll have on the plus side a Dudat double play today, and if I remember it, we might have a Dudat double. Sometimes, Samuel, I just keep forgetting about getting the Dudat double in there, but Craig Senard.
It's rare the double play happens, but when it happens, it's exciting, so it's very easy to forget sometimes.
Well, we have more doubles typically than we have double plays, so we like to mention Dudat Communications provided a beautiful sign right behind my man Joe Garafola, the Vol State logo, Vol State baseball logo that's prominently displayed up here in the press box, and also some other signage here in the press box as well as in the baseball locker room. So again, thanks to Craig Senard. And we are about ready for our national anthem. We'll go quiet during the national anthem, as YouTube will kick us off if we have too much music on. So we will have our Star Spangled Banner. We'll be right back. And Alex Qualls says, our DJ, PA, and all-around talented press box member, Alex Qualls, for his last conference series of the year, running the tunes here between innings, the walk-up songs, the public address announcer, and he will also be the voice of the conference tournament coming up, as he will be handling all 16 or 17 games starting May 7th behind the microphone. And Tyler Holsworth is out today on sick leave, so we have a substitute, young Devin Thrain, left-handed pitcher on a medical red shirt. Currently, he hopes, is up running the Toyota of Gallatin scoreboard. So there's your press box gang. Alex Qualls, Devin Thrain, Samuel Park, and yours truly, Tim Reese, for game number 49 of the year for the Pioneers. 29-19 record, 13-11 in conference. And as I said a year ago, Pioneers were in this same spot in 6th place. Went down to Motlow State and laid an egg, went 0 for 3. Got dropped into that number 7 position and ended up losing that game against Southwest Tennessee a year ago. That was a 7 versus 10 matchup. Lost 11-8, and that was the end of the season. That was very disappointing.
Tim, I don't know if you saw, but there was a spider on the camera exactly on the lens for a little bit there.
I saw you scraping something away, so you're not afraid of spiders, I hope.
No, I'm not, but I know there's probably somebody watching that probably is.
We got that handled. All right. We are ready to play ball. Irvin Hernandez steps in to face Country Cade McKee. First pitch in MGM Industries. Foul ball.
We're clicked in.
0-1 pitch. Another foul ball. Back Hernandez from, is that Cohutta, Georgia? Cohutta, Georgia. Not familiar with that town. 5'8", 170-pound redshirt freshman. Offering went low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hernandez, the shortstop. Both teams' shortstops are leading off for their respective clubs. Swinging, just got a piece of that one, the right-handed hitter. Hernandez hitting .305. Leads the team with 23 walks on the season. 6 doubles, a triple, 14 RBIs. And here's a ground ball to his counterpart at short, Ethan Huddleston, who throws on to Landon Godsey for out number 1. Dave Holbrook has checked in. He and Sherry Burris are watching. You know, I thought I saw some folks that may be Jake Burris's grandparents, and I think they're sitting right in front of the press box.
Number 22.
They said hello to Jake, so that should be Roger and Connie McDaniels, if I remember correctly. First pitch to John Hall, misses. So welcome to the McDaniels. I think this is the first trip down this year. Not sure if they came down last year or not. McKee falls behind to the right fielder, John Hall. Hall from Pleasant View, Tennessee. 5'11", 180 pounds, and he swings at a 2-0 pitch and hits one out to the grandson of the McDaniels, Jake Burris, out in center field for out number 2. We'll put up the email address later. Dave Holbrook just happens to be he's an unpaid volunteer and helper with the broadcast at times. He has to help me out from time to time. So he has my direct cell phone number, so he's texted in. 2 outs. Left-handed hitting Caleb Valdez steps in. Breaking pitch just misses outside. Valdez leading the team in hitting, .351. Average 7 doubles leads the squad. 3 home runs, 27 RBIs. Called strike. To the left fielder, left-handed hitter Caleb Valdez from Dalton, Georgia. 5'9", 180-pound sophomore. Called strike. It looked like that was right at the letters on the inside corner. McKee ahead in the count. 1-2 with 2 outs and nobody on. Just tried to catch that corner, and he started walking off the mound, as did the rest of the infield started walking off the infield. 64 degrees and cloudy here in Middle Tennessee. It's another pitch that Cade McKee's asking if that was out, and it looked like Jake Wolf, the home plate umpire, said it was down. By Full Count Ministries, full count. You were about to say it, weren't you?
I was about to say it. First Full Count Ministries, full count.
A drive over the head of Matt Hall. That'll get into the gap. Let's see if Mizell can cut it off. He cannot. And there will be the 8th double of the season for Caleb Valdez. Cade McKee thought he had Valdez struck out twice, actually, but the only opinion that mattered disagreed. So a 2-out double for Caleb Valdez, and that is a no on the full count. First pitch foul ball.
Now batting, number 11, Julius.
Now had unofficially 199 times that someone has swung at a full count pitch, and 107 times they've hit it foul. Julius Scarce steps in, a transfer from Wren Lake. He swings at the first pitch, fouls it off to the left side. The number 2 hitter for the Wren Lake Warriors a year ago. They ended up getting a new coach this past year, and not sure Scarce, who's from Lexington, Kentucky, decided to come to Motlow State. He squares the bunt. There's a pitch right down the can. Kind of unusual to be a fake bunting with an 0-1 count, but he's now down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Lefty on lefty matchup. Cade McKee versus Julius Scarce, the center fielder. He looks back at second and delivers. There's a swing and a miss on a high fastball, and down goes Scarce. And that will end the inning. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 1 runner left on base. We are headed to the bottom of the first. No score. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network and Channel 19 on Comcast Cable. Tim Reese and Samuel Park back on the campus of Volunteer State Community College. Thanks for joining us in the Vol State Sports Network, YouTube, Twitter, and on television channel 19. Ethan Huddleston will lead off for the Pioneers. Redshirt sophomore from right here in Gallatin, Tennessee, a hometown boy. First pitch from Jake Gully. Catches that inside river for strike one. Huddleston playing in game number 42 of the year, hitting .303. 5 home runs, 29 RBIs. Hasn't always been hitting in that number one spot. Has been hitting in the 2-hole earlier in the year and sometimes even down to 5 or 6, but he's been plugged into that leadoff role. And there's strike 3 called on the 0-2 count.
I think. No, there it is. There it is. It's up there. Hey.
All right, 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. Jake Burris, the pride of Grove City, at the plate. Redshirt sophomore. Grove City just outside of Columbus, Ohio. Breaking pitch misses way outside. Jake Burris hitting .297. He's got 2 home runs, 33 RBIs for the year. Had an 11-game hitting streak snapped against Wabash Valley this past Tuesday. 11 game was his longest of the year. .30 pitch in there for a called strike. Burris leads the squad with 29 walks. On base average of .401. .3-1 pitch in that left-handed batter's box, called strike 2, and we'll have a full count. Ministries full count. Landon Gotze on deck. Burris will get on with a walk, just a pitch after he thought he should have gotten on. Landon Gotze from Indianapolis, Indiana, steps in. One of the top hitters in the conference, hitting .394, 8 home runs, 46 RBIs. In the last 8 games, he's 18 for 35 at a .514 clip, 5 home runs, 3 doubles, and he pops that one up. That will be playable for Van Hooser. Not the at-bat that Landon Gotze was hoping for, as he got jammed on that pitch. Pops out to the first baseman in foul territory for out number 2. And the conference home run leader, Jace Mizell, steps to the plate. From Metropolis, Illinois, hitting .360. Throw back to first base. Burris back in time. Mizell in the last 16 games is 22 for 49. Has 10 home runs. Another throw over. Burris is, he's not staying on that bag very long. As soon as the throw goes back to the mound, he's getting off. Not a big lead, actually a pretty short lead at first base. Swing and a miss on the first pitch that Mizell sees. With Jace Mizell at the plate, if you're on base, you're in scoring position. 16 home runs. As I said, 10 in the last 16 games. He has been tearing it up, along with 5 doubles. 26 RBIs in 16 games, folks. He leads the squad with 54 RBIs. Tied with Godsey in the doubles lead with 14. Throw over to first base. Burris back standing. Jace Mizell also leads the conference in the number of extra base hits. He has 32. And total bases, 124. He is having a fantastic season. 1-1 pitch. Strike called. We have a huge zone today, folks. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jace Mizell. That came close to hitting his hands if he had left them there. 2 outs. Burris checked on again by Jake Gully, the right-hander. Swing and a miss, and down goes Mizell. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base. We're through 1 inning. No score. We're scheduled for 7 innings here in Game 1 on the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese and Samuel Park back at Vol State. We move to the top of the 2nd inning. Gabe Seibert, Jackson Cawthorn, and J.B. Bell scheduled for the Bucks to face Country Cade McKee, who gets a breaking pitch on that inside corner for a called strike. And we have joining us my man, Joe Garafola. Joe, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, Tim, thanks so much. Enjoy being out here. It's a great day to play 2 games today.
I'd like to see some sunshine out here, but as long as it's not raining, we can actually play baseball. We do have lights here at Vol State. I know you've been to a couple games here,
Yep.
Along with your good buddy Jerry Bell, which is how you and I met.
Absolutely. Jerry, he wanted to be here this morning. Unfortunately, he had other things to be doing, which is very uncommon for him. Baseball always takes precedence over most of what he does.
Gabe Seibert fouls that one down to the bullpen. Count goes 1 ball, 2 strikes to the second baseman leading off here in the 2nd inning. No score. We're just getting started. Another foul ball, an MGM Industries foul ball. So, Joe, your accent tells us that you're not from around here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and start at the very beginning.
No, born and raised New Yorker. Been in Tennessee now for, going on 30 years. Was fortunate enough, played ball myself, junior college ball down in Miami, Florida, and then finished up here at Western Kentucky.
It was a few years ago, though, right, Joe?
Just a few.
That
Just a few.
smashed out the big Jay Charla in left field, and he will back up just a few steps and make the catch for out number 1. So when did you finish at Western?
Western back in '83.
Okay.
And so, big JUCO college fan, though.
Where'd you play in Florida?
down in Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade, okay.
Yep. And great baseball. Nice to see these guys out here. Great opportunity for these young guys, man, to be playing college ball.
Speaking of baseball player right here is Jackson Cothran. Last time I saw this young man playing, he was winning a Ohio Valley League championship as he smacks another one out the left field. Jay Charlo on the run at the warning track will make the catch to retire Jackson Cothran, who's a full count rhythm champion a year, or actually not even a year ago, last summer, as he was a late add to Josh Carmen's full count rhythm in the Ohio Valley League. And he did a great job catching, ended up winning the championship. I know you know a little bit about the full count.
Absolutely. Is the rhythm
ministry.
program strictly college ball players?
It is. So that J.B. Bell, the DH, is at the plate now, so that we'll go full circle here. Joe Garafola and I have coached this past year in the full count fall league, along with this young man who's on the mound right here. You remember Cade McKee?
Absolutely.
He came in and handled our pitchers. He gets a ground ball to Vrabel. That ball stayed down, and he throws over to Godsey in a 1-2-3 inning for Cade McKee. Joe Garafola, good luck for his assistant coach over there as he retires the Bucks in order. Joe Garafola is going to be around with us for as long as he wants, so we'll take a break and be back with Joe after this short break. You're listening to the Ball State Sports Network. Back for the bottom of the second inning, Carter Vrabel, Tanner Bumbelow, and Matt Hall scheduled for the Pioneers to face Jake Gully, who walked one, struck out two in the first inning. Pioneers and Motlow State are jockeying for position in the conference tournament coming up in a week from tomorrow. Carter Vrabel swings at the first pitch, and MGM Industries foul ball straight back. Carter Vrabel has been hot. We're visiting with Joe Garafola. Samuel Park also running the dials here, the scoreboard and the computer that you see the broadcast on. There's a drive out to center field. Back goes Scarce, and that was going to be trouble off the base of the wall. And Carter Vrabel will glide into second base with a stand-up double. Each team with one hit, but both doubles, and that is the 14th double of the year for Carter Vrabel. He now ties Landon Godsey and Jace Mizell for the team lead, and that now extends his hitting streak to 9 games.
Every game I have watched of Ball State baseball, Vrabel has always been a big power threat. He will send it to the back wall and no effort, it looks like.
Well, he has been hitting. He has been on fire here lately, which is good for Vol State because he can carry a team.
Right time of the season, isn't it?
Yes, it is. If you're going to have a if you're going to be slow at some point, you want it at the beginning, Joe. Isn't that
Absolutely.
right?
Yep. This is the time to get hot right here.
Tanner Bumblelow, the DH, hitting from the left side. Redshirt freshman from Overton High School right here in Nashville, Tennessee. In the right side of the infield, expecting a bunt.
That's home of Mookie Betts, isn't it?
The home of Mookie Betts, along with 6'6" left-handed pitcher for the not the Volunteers, the Vol State Pioneers, Caleb Pika. So we have two John T. Overton High School players here for the Pioneers. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and down goes Bumblelow on 3 pitches. That is Jake Gully's 3rd strikeout. Matt Hall steps to the plate, sophomore middle infielder from Lexington, Kentucky. The son of Mark and Tracy Hall. Matt Hall hitting .235. 3 doubles. He will look to be driving that ball to the right side and find that hole between first and second.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Perfect time for it, isn't it?
Yeah, that was and Gully's thinking the same thing, and he's pounding that ball in. Fastball in that inside river. That's the portion between home plate and the white line on the right-handed batter's box or either batter's box. There's a breaking pitch that Hall started to go. They will check out with the base umpire, and Chris Judkins says he did not come around. The count goes 1 ball, 1 strike to Matt Hall. On deck is Big J Charla. So Coach McGuire went lefty, righty, lefty with Bumblelow, Hall, and Charla. And there's a ground ball up the middle, backhanded by Seibert. Hall will not be able to beat that one out. Nice play by Gabe Seibert at right behind the bag.
Yeah, that ball stayed down the whole way.
Looked like Gully was trying to kick it with his
he
foot.
Almost hit it. Absolutely.
Now batting, number 35, Jay Charla.
Could it be Charla time? Big J Charla from Murfreesboro Riverdale High School. Joe, you'd love this guy. You just he's a kid you just want to be around. He's just a great heart and not a big guy, but I'm telling you, he seems to get the job done. And I've been around him now 2 years, and he has just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. About halfway through the year, he got in the starting lineup, and hitting .302 right now, driven in some big runs.
Yeah, those kind of guys are hard to keep out of the lineup once they get in.
Plays great defense and can run a little bit, and typically makes contact. He won't. He might run into one. He had 3 at-bats a year ago and hit 1 out. But
we need to find a hole here. There you go.
Fouls that 2-0 pitch off to the left side at MGM Industries foul ball. Thanks to Joe Gaskins and Patrick Stewart over at MGM Industries here in Hendersonville for their support of Vol State baseball. Beautiful windows. Cleaned them yesterday, Joe. Came up and feel like it's my own house up here.
Yeah.
Pitch is high. Left fielder Jay Charla on deck. Catcher Braden Vineyard. Pioneers looking to scratch a run here with 2 outs.
When do the district playoffs start?
The conference tournament starts a week from tomorrow.
Gotcha.
May 7th as Charlotte takes a strike.
And it gives us a full count, Ministries full count there, Tim.
If that Toyota Gallatin scoreboard's correct, you are right. Full count
I hope
Ministries.
it's correct because mine is also correct.
Because that's what yours showing, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm showing.
No, we didn't.
Charlotte starts to go, and they're going to say no, and that will put runners now at the corners, a line to line, runners at first and third. So that's now the second walk by Gully, and they will take a play while Braden Vineyard is at the plate. Won't actually take a hit. Pioneers can score a run on a wild pitch or pass ball here. A balk. We could have Yeah, with that runner at third base, that makes a huge difference. Vrabel moved up on the ground out by Matt Hall, led off the inning with a double into right center field. There's a really good chance his dad is not here in attendance. His dad might be a little bit busy today. Carter Vrabel's down at third base. Braden Vineyard swings at the first pitch, pops one up into shallow right field. Gabe Seibert will move over to the line and make the catch for out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, 2 runners left on base. Still no score after 2. We are visiting with Joe Garofolo. This is Tim Reese and Samuel Park. We'll be right back after this short break. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. We're back at Vol State where the Pioneers taking on the Motlow State Bucks in game 1 of today's doubleheader.
Now batting, number 32, Tate.
Number 6 in the conference versus number 7. We are visiting with Joe Garofolo, a local baseball coach here. Swing and a miss by, or swing and a foul tip, Tate Van Hooser, the first baseman. Joe's been in Tennessee for 30 years. And how long have you been coaching baseball here in Tennessee, Joe?
Probably 25, 26 years.
Okay, and what age group are you coaching?
Started early, and then now we actually have the 17 to 19-year-old group. Over the summer, I coached with Coach Jerry Bell, and we have the American Legion post-17 here in Gallatin, and then, of course, have the opportunity. You brought me on this past fall with Full Count, so it's we start probably in the next 4 weeks or so, and I'll finish up with you sometime in the fall.
Base hit into left field by Tate Van Hooser. And Tucker Allen steps in. Tucker Allen from Sparta, Tennessee, went to White County High School, 5'11", 170-pound redshirt freshman. This young man was in the PA, or the press box, and running the PA at Motlow State a year ago. And now he's in their starting lineup at third base. Looks at a called strike.
Don't you love that?
He was a great kid. I mean, he helped me out. I think I actually used his sign-on for the Wi-Fi that we used a year ago. So he was a big help. Hitting .326, playing in game number 23 of the season. He fouls that one off to the right.
Having a good season, isn't he?
He is. They got him batting down in that 9 hole. This kid's leading their team in home runs with 9. Coming out of that 9 hole, also tied with the team lead in RBIs with 30. 1-1 pitch inside, blocked by Vineyard. Looked like maybe Vineyard and Van Hooser down at first base have some familiarity. Van Hooser from Princeton, Kentucky, a transfer from Rend Lake, and Braden Vineyard from Paducah, Kentucky. That pitch is fouled down the right field line. Mizell will give chase, but it will fall harmlessly just in front of the bullpen. So I'm not sure if Princeton, Kentucky is close to Paducah, Kentucky or not, but Vineyard kind of giving him one of those, hey, go on and go.
Yeah.
On deck, Irvin Hernandez, the leadoff batter.
Yeah. Do you see the game changing much? I don't see a lot of small ball, a lot of bunting and running and that type of thing any longer.
Ball's popped up to the right side. That probably will get out of play. Landon Gotze gives chase, but it one hops to the maintenance shed. You're not seeing in college, not in junior college, you're not seeing a lot of small ball. But actually, I've seen where they've attempted it, and the guys don't get the bunts down.
They don't. It's almost a lost art.
Don't
really.
see a lot of hitting and running. Now, there's some stealing. There's not with Motlow State, as another MGM Industries foul ball goes off to the right side. The Pioneers have 70 stolen bases in 73 attempts.
Wow.
Now, that's a really, really good percentage. That tells you maybe you should be going a little bit more.
Absolutely.
The Bucks are 57 of 69 in stolen bases, but I mean, the leading stolen base team in the league, I think, is Columbia State. They got 120 or 30, I think. Southwest Tennessee also is up there in stolen base attempts.
Yeah, I always felt speed and that type of movement puts a lot of pressure on the defenses.
Absolutely does, but Pioneers are set up right now looking for that dude at double play. As short and second are in double play depth. Has a drive out to center field. That ball's well struck, but Jake Burris is under it in front of the warning track, and he will make the catch for out number one. Tucker Allen gave it a ride, but the ballpark held that one. Pioneer Field here at Tim Garrett Baseball Complex, 320 down the lines, 345 in the alleys, and 380 to dead center field. Maybe one of the smaller parks in the league, at least from the gaps to center field, but down the lines, about average, 320. Hernandez looks at breaking pitch for a called strike. He grounded out to
345 is a little bit for these.
Yeah, a little bit short
for college kids, sure.
A one pitch is driven up the middle. That's another base hit.
Yeah, that's a rip.
Is Van Hooser now at second base. Third hit of the ball game for the Bucks. They came in hitting 274 overall, 276 in conference play, which is good for seventh in the league. I think they've been coming on as a team here lately. John Hall steps in with one out and two on. Hall has committed to a university in West Virginia called Salem. Not sure where that's located, but just got that information before the game. He'll hit a ground ball. Huddleston will drop it. He was making that play to third base before he'd actually grabbed it. And that will be an E6, and bases are now loaded.
Yeah, that ball was hit more to the hole, so it would have been tough turning two anyway with that.
Yeah, he wasn't going to second base anyway, was he? He looked like he had his body turned, and he was ready to fire over to Carter Vrabel to get that lead runner, but just couldn't get the handle on it. As Van Hooser had crossed in front of him, I don't think that was the problem. I think it was just a little bit too quick of a transition. Bases now loaded, one out. Infield is back. Caleb Valdez, who doubled into right center field. What do we have? A catcher's interference.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
There's our first catcher's interference of the year. Braden Vineyard talking to home plate umpire Jake Wolf. And now he's asked the home plate umpire to go talk to the base umpire, Chris Judkins. I'm not really sure if.
Can't really challenge that, can he?
Well, I guess the only thing is it did, in fact, Valdez maybe reach back with his bat a little bit as I see some umbrellas coming up and might be getting some of that rain that Samuel Park was talking about.
I ain't seeing it fall yet.
They're going to put him.
Maybe they're just preparing.
Well, they're putting him on at first base, so the Bucks now lead 1-0, and everybody moves up a base.
Yep, and he just Coach just sent people down to the bullpen. So I guess he's got some folks warming up.
Number 11, Julius Scarce.
Motlow State takes the early lead, and Julius Scarce at the plate. There's a pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. Folks over to the right have their umbrellas up, and can't see to my left, but there's Miss McDaniel down from Grove City, Ohio. Got her Chick-fil-A bag. There's a line drive right to Matt Hall, and he just gets a tip of it. Throws to second base to get the force. They cannot get the runner at first base, but they throw to third to get the runner who was trying to come to between second and third. Yep. So that was John Hall. So it is a dudette double play. Matt Hall almost made the catch, which would have easily doubled a runner off at second base. But we'll have to take a minute to score that one. But another run does come in unless that is that's not a force now, though, at third base, Joe.
No, that's correct.
Okay, because once he gets the run should score because
he got the out at second. He got from second to first, and then he wasn't forced.
He's not a force out anymore, right? He has to be tugged.
That's correct.
So, okay, that's what Coach McGuire is out talking to the umpires about right now, I'm sure.
That would have been the second run.
Right. All right, well, we will figure it out on our scoreboard when we come back, but after 2.5, it's 2-0 Motlow State. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. All right, Tim Reese back here in a state of confusion as we move.
That was a tough one in the scorebook.
To the move to the third, the bottom of the third inning, Pioneers down 2-0 on a crazy play. He got the Motlow State Bucks their second run. But Ethan Huddleston, the leadoff batter for the Pioneers, steps in. First pitch in the dirt. He struck out looking to lead off the game for the Pioneers. Jake Gully out on the mound. We're visiting with Joe Garafola, local baseball coach here in the Hendersonville-Gallatin area. Joe helping me figure out the RBIs.
That's a tough one to sort, Tim. That was a tough one.
At bases loaded and a line drive to Matt Hall at second. He got that 5'8" frame. That ball's lifted high out to center field. That'll be easy play for Julius Scarce.
Just got under that.
As the rain starts to come in, sprinkling a little bit here in Gallatin. Don't expect it to last very long. Jake Burris will step in with one out. But the bases were loaded. Matt Hall, not the tallest of second basemen, but the line drive just right at the top of his vertical. and reached that glove up and got enough of the ball to keep it in front. Fell in front, and he tried to go the conventional 4-6-3 double play, but all they were able to get was the force at second base. The batter runner, was safe at first, but then they realized the runner who was on second, as that ball is grounded to Seibert, 3 Hopper, will throw on the run to Van Hooser for out number 2. But the runner who was on second base was getting back to the bag, thinking that the second baseman was going to catch the line drive, but he was not able to get to third. So Godsey throws over to third base, and Carter Vrabel has to tag the runner out. Meanwhile, Irvin Hernandez, who was on third base, scored the run to give the Bucks the 2-0 lead. I thought this was supposed to be the better day today. This rain is surprising me.
It's coming down harder now. It went from a light sprinkle to now it's a
actually
solid drizzle.
Didn't show any rain this morning.
Landon Godsey, who popped out to first baseman in foul territory, and first pitch he saw from Gully. Now down in the count, or 1 ball, 1 strike count. Nobody on, 2 out. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Landon Godsey, 5 home runs, 3 doubles, an 18 for 35 streak going in his last 11 games, 18 RBIs. He's been hot. He had a hitting streak that was snapped up at Wabash. Actually, it wasn't. They ended up giving him a hit on a play that I gave an error. That ball is way up in the air. Right fielder has come in and makes the catch. There were 4 people starting to try to get after that one. So that's an F9, and we're going to put the tarp on is what it looks like. So we're going to have a break after 3 innings. We're scheduled for 2. And the home plate umpire, Jake Wolf, called for the tarp. So we will have a break. We'll take our normal between inning break and be right back on the Vol State Sports Network. We're back at the campus of Volunteer State Community College, where, as you can see, the tarp is being put onto the infield. We will be in a weather delay here right at the end of the 3rd inning. So that is right at about 12:50. We started right at noon. Go to 12:50 for the weather delay. We'll see. Appears as though the rain maybe will last about 25 minutes or so. Pioneers are behind 2-0 as we look at the Toyota of Gallatin scoreboard up there. 2 runs, 3 hits for Motlow State. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Pioneers. Vol State in a 3-game series with Motlow State. Needs to at least get one victory out of 3 here to stay in 6th place. They come in with a 13-11 conference record with 3 games to go. Motlow State 11-12 with the same 3 games to go. So we're visiting with Joe Garofolo, local coach here, friend of mine from the Full Count Ministry as well as church. We'll just make a quick mention just in case his lovely wife is listening in. I don't know if you texted her to say, hey.
She's out of town right now.
Well,
she's
hey,
out of town.
YouTube goes everywhere, Joe. She might not be able to watch us on Channel 19 on Comcast Cable, but she can get us on Twitter right now.
Twitter
so
YouTube is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, just
so
about.
The best part of Joe Garofolo, and there's a lot of good parts, but the best part is his lovely wife, Jennifer.
There's no doubt about it. I will be the first to tell you that, Tim.
But I'll be right behind you because before I met Joe Garofolo, I met his lovely wife, and she's a teacher in the preschool area of our church, Long Hollow Church, and I just kept seeing Jennifer just Sunday after Sunday, year after year, and I thought she was a single lady.
Mom.
I thought she was a single lady,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I saw Joe show up at some event. And then I heard him talk, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get with this guy." And then I ran into you at Belmont.
We did.
When Jerry Bell, Jerry Bell is a Belmont alum.
Correct.
And Belmont was just showing off their brand new facility up there. That was a couple years ago, and they had a nice exhibit for Jerry Bell, who's a former major league pitcher. Right-hander with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Correct. He was I believe, the first player out of the Belmont system that made it to the big leagues.
Absolutely. And as I tell my story about Jerry Bell, I'm 12 years old collecting baseball cards. And I can remember clear as day opening up a pack of baseball cards at the convenience store we called Great Scott that was a mile up the road from my house.
Yeah.
I would collect Coke bottles and take them up and get the nickel back on the Coke bottles. And if I had 2 bottles, I could buy a 10-cent pack of baseball cards. And I remember opening a pack up and said, "Doggone it, I got another Jerry Bell."
Well, Tim,
Who's Jerry Bell? And then fast forward, 6-7 years later, and there I am. I'm facing Jerry Bell in an alumni game. My freshman year at Belmont, what was then college, and here's Jerry Bell wearing a big old hat on top of his head.
Yep.
It's like that hat didn't fit his head.
that's it.
And Jerry's throwing to us, and I thought, man, I got to find those baseball cards. And Joe, I can't find them.
Tim,
I
we
can't
had
find a Jerry Bell card.
Where I grew up, we had a place called Dino's Luncheonette, right down the street from where I lived. And same thing. We used to collect Coke bottles and bring them in for deposits and used to buy baseball cards with it. Sure enough, I used to think about those. I said, look at the sideburns on that guy.
Jerry Bell's.
Jerry
I can
Bell.
see him right now. I can see it.
Yeah.
I had 4 of them.
Yeah.
I must have thrown them away. I've got a box full of baseball cards, Joe, but I've been through them about 3 times looking to find a Jerry Bell card, and I can't find it.
I think we put them on our bikes, man, with the clothespins.
Some did. Maybe that's what I did to those Jerry Bells.
I never did that with any of my baseball cards. I managed to have some like protector sleeves for my stuff.
Well, you're young.
was
You're
sm-
20
and you were
years
smart.
old,
Yeah,
man.
we were smart. We had Willie Mays, Mickey Mantles on our bike and stuff. Little did I know.
Nobody knew it.
$50 cards.
Right. It was a kid's habit. I mean, a kid's hobby. Now it becomes a business. Back in the day, like you said, Tim. I mean, for a nickel, man, you get a pack of cards.
With
10
some
cents.
gum in it too.
With
yeah,
good gum.
10. Yeah.
Mine still came with some good gum.
Yes.
Mine came with some good now.
Even the gum in the packs that you open years later, man, it's a little bit
No change.
Yeah, a little bit stiff, but it's still good.
Well, I am a connoisseur of bubble gum, so
Yes, you are.
yes.
Yes, you
So
are.
don't come at me with some stale gum.
No,
now,
no.
Joe.
You couldn't blow the bubbles you blow with that kind of gum, man.
So we met again at the Belmont alumni weekend a couple of years ago. Ran into each other,
Yep.
and I knew that you were coaching with Jerry Bell, and then you started coming back to or coming to church, and now you teach with your wife.
I do.
In the preschool area. You guys handle 4-year-olds, right?
Yeah, special
Or
needs.
pre-K?
Yeah, well, it was special needs, and then
Okay.
yeah, and
I'm
Jen
gonna
she really does it. She's the nurse.
No,
and,
no,
and I'm in here running around with the kids.
I'm in there, Joe. I see the work that you do, and I've seen the work that Jennifer does as well, and it's a great day when you can run across Joe Garofalo, especially when he's around kids, because I'm telling you, he loves kids and they love him.
Well, Jen says that when we have about 7 or 8 kids in the room, and I'm in there with her, she has an additional kid to take care of. So, but yeah, we very fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity to work with those kids.
Well, it's wonderful for my heart to see a lady who came by herself for so long. I don't know how long it was.
Well, I used to meet her at church. We used to go to the other later service.
You went to a different service.
She was in the Sunday school, and then
she was serving in the preschool, and somehow or another she twisted your arm, I guess.
Yeah, she did.
To come and join her, and it's been a great addition. I know that everybody around that sees you two as a couple, and I know just seeing Jennifer's the smile on her face to know that her husband is right there with her.
She's solid, man.
And she's wonderful. But so anyway, then I said, how can I get Joe Garofalo more into my life? And that's when I said, hey, I can go 2 for 1, because if I can get Joe to coach in the Full Count Fall League with me, and that's one of the things I do is try to recruit coaches, people who get connected in with Full Count, the baseball ministry that we have here in Gallatin, Tennessee, and actually Hendersonville, Gallatin, actually all of Sumner County. But I brought you, and you brought Jerry Bell. Jerry's been coaching a long time, so
that's been I think the Full Count platform that you introduced us to. You're a stable in that program, and to be able to, I think, to have the opportunity to impact some young guys with that type of foundation, I think is a great opportunity for us, really, to build them as young men and really enjoy the time playing ball with them.
Well, there's 2 players here. Ethan Huddleston, the shortstop, leadoff batter. Before you came on to Team Reese, as we're called.
Right.
Ethan Huddleston played 4 years with Team Reese in the Full Count Fall League, won 4 straight championships with that young man, 2016 through 2019. His brother was part of the very first one, Noah Huddleston. And then Zach Zimmerly, who will be redshirting this year, infielder, outfielder from Hendersonville High School, also played in the Full Count Fall League for a couple of years, I believe. I'm not sure if he played all 4 or not, but he's here as well. And Full Count Fall League, or actually Full Count Ministries, is the equipment that I use here for the broadcast. So they're a supporter through that. Here, Jacob Oldham, who's the executive director, is a baseball alum of Vol State, as well as Josh Carmen, who is the assistant coach at Trevecca Nazarene, but he's the head coach for the Full Count Rhythm baseball team in the Ohio Valley League, as well as a general manager. He's also a full-time employee with Full Count Ministries. Folks, if you're just joining us, we are in a weather delay that is coming up on 10 minutes long. As you see, the tarp is on the field here at Pioneer Field, the Tim Garrett Baseball Complex. It looks like the rain is all but stopped now. There might be some more coming in, but
looks like the sun's trying to break through a little bit too, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll see a whole lot of it. It is looking a little bit lighter. But so we are visiting with Joe Garofalo, a local baseball coach and friend of the Full Count Ministry and friend of mine. So
I appreciate, Tim, the opportunities to be out here. It's, honestly, we get busy on the weekends, and just to have junior college ball local here. When I was walking up and I saw the guys out there warming up, and And I thought, wow, this is right here for all of us to be able to come and enjoy, and just need to take the time to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, 2 years ago, or actually a little over a year ago, when I had to twist Coach McGuire's both of his arms to let me broadcast his games, and then broadcasting a year ago, and then going to do the full count rhythm broadcast, and then coming back for my first fall to the campus here, Joe, getting to know a bunch of new guys. Devin Thrain right here, who's in part of the press box gang today, as a true freshman left-hander, two-way player. I guess we're still on that two-way track from Summit High School, Thompson Station, or Thompson Station. He's looking for a medical red shirt now. He's got an upper body injury, as we say in hockey. So he's got he'll be hoping on a medical red shirt. But guys like that, there was 25, I think, brand new players coming in. So every year,
two-way player.
Every year, Joe, it's you're getting to see and hopefully positively impact 25 new guys, on it. So it takes, I don't know, an old guy like me, Devin, how long you think it took me to get everybody's names? Probably 2-3 weeks, maybe. Probably took 10 days to come out here to practice and get to see these guys and know their names.
Tim, I tell you, as we were talking, when I had the chance to play ball, and it's been some years, it's been over 40 years ago, the lessons that I learned, honestly, from when I played ball down in Miami, I keep with me now. It's just the impact that, and I told you, Doc Maneri had on my life. He's passed away since.
That was your head coach?
Yeah, and Paul Maneri, Paul was the coach at LSU.
Right.
I'm good friends with Paul. The impact. Paul and I, we were about a year or two apart when we down at Dade, and then he went on to play at University of New Orleans. Paul did, but Doc and that coaching staff had such an impact on me. They also got me the opportunity to play overseas, and you take those lessons and you try to transfer them to some of the young guys that you coach now. And I remember what they did for me, and I hope in turn that I have the opportunity to do that for other young guys now. Give everybody a chance and to learn from baseball. It's a great teacher of life, really it is.
Well, I know it sure can be. I mean, but every one of us has examples of, man, I would never want to play with that guy again, or man, I love playing with that guy.
Absolutely.
So.
And Doc was, I remember, he was one disciplinarian, and I remember leaving back home and to go down there. Didn't know anybody.
You're going from New York to Miami,
Yep.
and you're not doing it as a 60-something-year-old retiree like a lot of New Yorkers do, right? You're going down there as a 18-year-old to play some baseball.
18-year-old kid.
Right.
And very intimidating environment. 300 kids trying out for 28 positions,
And what position did you play?
I played second and shortstop.
Okay.
And but he wound up moving me around. Our shortstop was actually the number 1 draft pick in the draft, and so I didn't play short. But
well, I mean, people don't know you. People don't know you, so they're wondering, okay, what did you play at? What if I'm reading your Joe Garafola from somewhere in New York, and he is 5'8",
5 foot. Not what I say.
Okay.
I say
What-
it's 5'8",
what was on your
but
roster?
But it ain't 5'8".
Okay, Joe. You said 5'8".
5'8", 160.
5'8", 160, okay,
Right.
and that 5'8" stretching it just a bit, right?
It's probably
okay.
stretching it a couple inches, man.
Okay. He's not the tallest guy
No, he's
around.
not. No, he's
okay.
not.
And you played at 160.
Correct.
And of course, you're not 160 now.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm
But
not.
you lift a few weights now. I mean, you got some traps and some buys and some tries,
It's
and
been-
this is I wouldn't want to fight this guy right
traded
here.
baseball for power lifting.
Okay, so he's
yeah,
a power
and he
lifter
is.
now.
So,
But played at 5'8", 160,
Yeah.
and
And
middle
Tim-
infield.
yep, Timmy
Batted right-handed.
right-handed hitter.
Okay.
I was a good hitter, always a good hitter. But Timmy Hewlett and a guy named Juan Bustabad. Timmy Hewlett made it to the big leagues. Actually, he played second base with Cal Ripken.
Okay.
When Ripken was a shortstop. And,
I remember the name.
Yeah, and Timmy, he wound up playing in the show. He was our shortstop. Bustabad was first-round draft pick from the Oakland A's, and wound up being traded to the Red Sox. Made it up to AAA with Paul Tuckett. Those were the kind of kids you were playing against. They were all Miami. Well, Bustabad was from Miami, Hewlett from Chicago area, but. To be around those kind of kids and being in that environment, I tell you, whatever talent and abilities you had, and if you worked hard, they developed. And, I was never afraid to work hard, and because I was probably not blessed with the size and athletic ability of a lot of the other kids. But I just figured through hard work, maybe I get my opportunity. So, and I did it. I mean, I enjoyed greatly playing ball down there, and like I said, you watch these young guys playing junior college ball here. Junior college ball, man, is a great opportunity for a lot of folks, and it sets the table, man, from when they leave here to go on, and when hopefully they get another chance to play again.
Well, we have a lot of folks that obviously that the folks that are listening are interested in junior college players, right? So there's a dynamic that somebody going to a 4-year school doesn't have to typically worry about, although with the transfer portal going and all that,
Yep.
that's way different than what it was when you and I played
Well, way
college
different.
baseball. But what was that dynamic, if you can recall, having to leave a 2-year to find a 4-year? Was that a pretty anxious time for you, or
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate.
how did you get up here to Western?
Yeah,
I mean, you're
actually a guy that played ball at Dade. He played in the minor league system with Toronto Blue Jays. He wound up. He was going to be the coach of Western Kentucky, and so while I was down in Miami, he was the coach of St. Thomas Aquinas down there, and we played against them several times and always had some pretty good games against him. He was also Miami-Dade alum. And so he was coming up to Western, and he offered me a full ride to come back up here and play. He asked me if I would come back here. And so
well, but you'd never. To say come back, you'd never lived here, right?
no.
Okay, so you were coming,
Yeah,
not coming back.
Never even been to Western
Okay.
or even been to Kentucky.
Being a New York guy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Never been to Kentucky.
you open your mouth and they say, "Boy, you ain't from around
No,
here."
you're not. And then long story short, Nick wound up, his name's Nick Belmonte. Nick wound up taking a sportscasting job for Sports South.
Okay.
And he still does that today. He's also a scout for the, I ran into him at Doc's funeral. He's also a scout for the Chicago Cubs. And we were talking, and, it's been many years since I've seen him. And so he took the job at Sports South instead of the coaching job. And it's served him well over the years. I mean, he still does it now, 35
Right.
years later. But and then Coach Murray, who was the coach at Western, who was a University of Florida alum, he called me over the summer, I remember, and he said, we still would like to honor your scholarship. And I think Coach Murray didn't know me, only through Nick, but he knew the program that I came from was a good program. And
I think it still is today, right?
yeah.
Miami-Dade.
Yeah, they have a good
Okay.
good system.
I
Down
think
most
there's
of
a
the-
player, one of the top pitchers in the league here is a transfer from Miami-Dade.
Yeah,
A guy named Anthony Figueroa, who's
yeah.
one of the top pitchers, actually in National Junior College.
Yeah, and I think when you come from a different environment, especially like where we grew up, we played 15 to 18 high school games. It's not like even the kids here. When you go down there, you play 60 games in the spring and 40 in the fall. It's a whole different environment.
Right.
The kids down there, they play, they get developed, they're hungry. A lot of the kids I played with were Cuban ball players. It's just a good atmosphere. And I mean, I'm watching this over here. I got excited when I got out of the car, saw the guys running around, throwing the ball, warming up. It brings you back, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I will say though, it's much more enjoyable when you know the players. To know.
Yeah.
If you're just coming out here to watch baseball and you don't know these guys, it's it's not the same thing
I
as it
agree.
is to say, oh, I know that kid.
Yeah.
I know. And when Ethan Huddleston came here to play for the very first time back in the COVID year,
Yeah.
I used to watch games out there in the left field parking lot. Okay, but that kid was the only one that I knew.
Yeah.
But then now becoming involved with the program and broadcasting games in the summer, and like the catcher for the Motlow State Bucks here, who played for the Full Count Rhythm this past summer.
Nice.
So I know him,
Yeah.
and just other guys in the league that I've seen in that wood bat league. It's fun to see, and then I'll see him again this summer when it strikes back up, and it'll be the third year that I broadcast in the Ohio Valley League. But
You have a connection with the kids.
right, and thankfully, even through Full Count Ministry, I can have a connection as a discipleship group, and I was able to start a discipleship group with 5 sophomores, redshirt sophomores, who are here, and we're just finishing up. I think we've got 2 weeks left at a minimum. 2 weeks left. We meet on Friday mornings, and our starter for today, Cade McKee, is among those 5 guys. Our shortstop, Ethan Huddleston, is the only non-pitcher in the group. Cade Sanders. I forgot Cade Sanders. He's a one-time Full Count Fall League player for Team Reese. He won a championship. Birdwell? Birdwell's in my Full Count Ministry D group, but he did not play in the Full Count Fall League. But he's a guy from Lebanon that probably knows Jerry Bell. Jerry, your buddy Jerry Bell, the Belmont alum, was the pitching coach for the brand new Green Hill High School
That's correct.
last year, or was that 2 years ago? Not this past, or not this year.
Season before.
Season before.
Yep.
So we have a player, Brett Dowling, who played under Jerry Bell a year ago. So, but Cade Sanders, Landon Tucker, Chase Birdwell, Cade McKee, and Ethan Huddleston, 5 guys that we actually called that the 242 group, Acts 242, that says that the disciples or the people came under the disciples' training, and they broke bread together and they prayed together, and so that's what we've done as a discipleship group.
So Tim,
is
tell
get
me,
together.
so most of these kids, they played on championship. Reese.
Yeah, Team Reese.
Championship. So last
Right.
year,
Yeah.
I'm sitting out there, right?
We didn't win a
And-
championship
and-
last
and-
year.
And really, most through the season, I mean, I thought, you know what, we got a shot at this thing. We're gonna win it this year, and we.
That's
we
that
just,
positive mindset you have, Joe.
Well, I guess, but we just fell short, man. I think we made it through the first or second round of the playoffs, and we came up a little bit short the last game. But
If you don't win championships, Joe, it's because you don't have players. When you win championships, it's
you
because of
coach.
coaching.
I would. That's what they told me about you. That's what they told me about you.
That's right, baby. That's
Yep.
a world according to Tim Reese.
Yes.
So
And I
we had
remember
good
it was
coaching
the-
2016 through 2019. Just haven't had the players since then.
But then your son Wilson, um, I
Another
think there was a
assistant
few
coach.
games that you left. You were unable to be there, and you left it in our. I want to say capable hands, but really Wilson did most of the coaching, man, when you were out, and so we had a good time with it, man. And we kept saying, man, I said your dad would be proud of you. I said he'd be proud of the job you're doing right now.
I'm very proud of my kids.
I know you are.
They're all excellent
Good people.
members of society.
Yes, they are.
So, but yeah, I think we led the league in coaching last year. I mean, I know we had some age on us. I mean, me, you, and Jerry Bell.
We
not
had
the
some mileage.
Yeah,
we definitely did.
but we had to mix in with Wilson, my 31-year-old son, and Country Cade McKee, who's 21. I think he just had his birthday. Just turned 20. He turned 22. Dang, he's old. Cade McKee, 22. It's a redshirt sophomore here. But
was he redshirted for injury?
no, the COVID. He's one of those COVID.
Oh, yeah.
We've got
That's
3-year
tough,
guys
man.
here that.
Did you guys lose all your opportunity? I mean, he had his zipper. He did. Huh. But with the COVID years, they just suspended that year?
They
You kept their
played
eligibility?
in the COVID year in 21, which is the year after. They played just conference teams, and they only played like the teams that you could drive to and then come back. There were no overnight stays
Gotcha.
in 2021. I, of course, came in 2022, played a full schedule, 49 games or whatever it was a year ago. And if we get all these games in, we'll end up with 51
That's a great,
for
great
this year.
season.
So,
I hated
but
it. I was disappointed for kids. I mean, if that's your senior year in high school or your years in college, and you lose them, you get it. You know, it's not the same.
it's tough, but that's adversity, right? And
Teaches you.
it's another thing, a chance
Work through.
to learn, and it's a hurdle you got to get over. And so, tell you what, let's take a short break, and we are probably getting pretty close to being back in action. So you've been listening. This is Tim Reese and Joe Garafoles, our special guest. Samuel Park is along for the ride today. We're scheduled for 2 7-inning contests today. We've been in a weather delay for some rain since 12:50. So a little over 30 minutes, but we'll take a short break and be right back on the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese and Samuel Park back at Vol State Community College, where we have been on a weather delay. Pioneers and Motlow State have gotten through 3 innings of game 1 of the doubleheader. The tarp is off the field and teams are loosening back up. Looks like Ball State may be about ready to go back out onto the field, but
Looks like the sun's come back out too, Tim.
we got a little more light here at Tim Garrett Baseball Complex. Let me just get you a little summary of what's happened so far. Motlow State had a double in their first inning, but could not push a run across and went down 1-2-3 in the second inning. But the third inning, a very eventful inning for Motlow State, as they had the 2 out of the first 3 batters reach on singles. And then John Hall, their number 2 hole hitter, ended up reaching on an error by the shortstop, and bases were loaded. Then a catcher's interference brought in the first run of the game as Tate Van Hooser came in to score, giving Motlow State a 1-0 lead. Then Julius Scarce hits a ground ball, or actually a line drive to second baseman Matt Hall, who was able to get a glove on it and knocked it down, ended up getting the force out at second base. But the throw from shortstop Ethan Huddleston to first did not retire Scarce, but on the play, John Hall, who was at second base, was caught between second and third. Not sure that Matt Hall came very, very close to catching the line drive, but when the ball was dropped, he was caught between second and third in the throw from Godsey, the first baseman, to Carter Vrabel over at third base, and he was able to tag the runner for out number 3, but on the play, Irvin Hernandez ended up scoring from third base. And that's what has given Motlow State the 2-0 lead. Pioneers have 1 hit in their 3 innings. And it is go time at 1:26 as we had a 36-minute delay. And there might be some more rain coming in. Meteorologist Samuel Park.
let me double check that weather app right now. Let's see if anything's changed.
All right, we are set. Cade McKee back out on the mound for Vol State to face Gabe Seibert, the number 5 hole hitter. He lined out to Jay Charla in left field, and looks like we might have some issues with a wet baseball as first pitch out of the hand of Cade McKee sails wide of the mark.
Tim, it looks like we're good. Don't have any percentage chance of rain.
Okay,
Like
maybe we'll get through. The pitch goes low and inside. 2 balls, no strikes to Gabe Seibert. Thanks to Joe Garafola. We'll pick up with him before we say so long. There's a 2-0 pitch right down the can.
Up to bat, number 12, Gabe Seibert.
Seibert from Clarksville, Tennessee, former teammate of Keegan Evick at Rossview High School. He's now looking at a 2-ball, 2-strike count. On deck, Jackson Cawthorn from Siegel High School. Low and inside, we'll have a full count. Ministries, full count. 0 for 1 on full count first pitch foul balls as spectators are filing back into the stands here at Tim Garrett Baseball Complex. And there is our first full count first pitch foul ball of the day, 1 for 2. Right at about 54%. Started out, let me bring Joe Garafola back on here. I know that he likes some of these unusual little stats that come up, but I've been following it for 40 years, I guess now, as Seibert takes a walk.
You're not that old, are you?
I'm older than you. If you finished in 83, I finished at Belmont in 82, so.
Yeah, we're probably the same then. We're pretty close.
I'm a 1978 high school grad.
76.
Oh
I
my
got you beat,
gosh. Man, you spent a long
You guys
time
didn't
in
realize
college.
anybody was that old around here, did you?
Just missed high and inside with that fastball. 1976. You
Yeah, I
graduated
stayed.
when you were.
I went.
You graduated when you were 16, though, Joe. You're just
I
extra
went.
smart.
Actually, I was a senior when I was 16.
Wow. I graduated at 17. As
Yep.
Cawthron ducks out of the way of that breaking pitch. Looks like McKee's having a little trouble gripping that ball.
You know, it's tough too, Tim. I think after you have a delay like that, you're warmed up, you're ready to go, then you cool off, and sometimes it takes a little bit to get started again.
Cawthron hits one into his own dugout. From Siegel High School, Jackson Cawthron was the first junior college player to make the roster for the full count rhythm in the Summer Ohio Valley League. The rhythm had a couple catchers go down, and we're looking for a catcher as that pitch just misses outside. Count goes 3 balls and 1 strike to the sophomore from Siegel High School. He has committed to go up to Ohio, Athens, Ohio, at Ohio University, become a Bobcat. He's committed to the green, and he will take one off the melon. And so the second straight walk puts runners at first and second, and that will draw a visit from Braden Kell, the pitching coach. Come out to talk to Cade McKee as action begins in the bullpen down there. That looks like, is that Bird down there, Qualsey? Or is that Cade Sanders? Thought it was a little bit too early, so another one of the full count 242 group members down there getting loose in the bullpen. Quick Cade Sanders. He has a Belmont connection as well. His dad's a Hall of Fame shortstop, Clay Sanders from right around here at Hendersonville. His dad played at Beach High School, and Caden was a Hendersonville Commando. Warming up in the bullpen. We'll see if we got some small ball right here, Coach Joe.
You got to move him over.
J.B. Bell, the
No
DH. He
move him over.
grounded out to Carter Vrabel at third base.
Lay it down. There you go.
He squares, and the pitch is outside. Landon Godsey is charging from first base. Matt Hall will go over to cover the bag if Bell can get the bunt down.
Pitcher's got to cover the left side. He falls off that way, so we should have no trouble. First baseman's charging, right?
That's correct. Shortstop trying to keep the runner close at second. There's a bunt that's up in the air. That ball will drop, and then we'll see if it will roll foul, and it will.
Wow,
Good call right there by Coach Cade McKee
Yes, that was.
of Team Reese Full
was
Count
in-
Fall League.
It was in no man's land, that ball.
That had just enough English that it took a left turn. And Braden Vineyard right there to snag it when it got all the way. You got to wait till it gets all the way across that chalk, Joe.
Yeah, you do.
You can't have one white blade underneath that baseball. And we missing the count up on the Toyota of Gallatin scoreboard.
Should be 1-1.
Should be 1-1. And there's a good bunt to the third baseman, and Carter Vrabel will not be able to handle that. So that will go in the scorebook as a sac bunt, but an E5.
That wet ball has messed everything up, I believe.
Carter looked like he took his eyes off of that one and thought he had it in his glove. That's the second
They
time.
got rid of that ball, too.
Anything that hits the grass now is going to be taken out of play, I'm sure. Tate Van Hooser steps in. He singled the left field, scored the first run of the game for Motlow State. Comes in with a 23-19 record, 11-12 in the conference. I think they were one of the other teams that beat the number one team in the conference, Walter State. There's a breaking pitch, misses low and inside. Van Hooser, the Rend Lake College transfer from Princeton, Kentucky, 6'1", 225-pound first baseman. Julius Scarce and Chase Mulligan, who's now apparently on the injured list, are the other two transfer from Wren Lake. That'll be an MGM Industries foul ball off to the right side. So I look up into that light tower just right behind the dugout. Looks like a ton of huge sticks that are up there. I know that Coach McGuire said that there'll be hawks that will nest up in these light poles, and looks like one's building him a good little home up there right now. 1-1 goes 1-2, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Tate Van Hooser with Tucker Allen, the home run leader for Motlow State, on deck. Not too often you see the home run leader for the team batting in the 9 hole, hitting .326. Another foul ball off to the right side. See if all-world athletic trainer Justin McKinney, who sees that ball hop into the maintenance shed, and he jogs over to retrieve that one. Saw athletic director Bobby Hudson was also around here today. Big day for Volunteer State Athletics. 1-2 pitch goes low and inside. Lady Pioneers should be getting started across the campus. They will play the Lady Bucks in a doubleheader today as well. The softball teams play doubleheaders each day, so they get in 4 games in the conference series. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Van Hooser, and he grounds it in the hole between short and third. They're going to send the runner. Jay Charlot's throw will be cut off. Throw to second base, and they got the runner caught, and another runner will be tug out, and then another one will be knocked off the base by the non-football playing Carter Vrabel now. So another crazy play, as we'll have 2 RBIs for Tate Van Hooser, and out of the dugout will come head coach Jim McGuire, and that will be a pitching change. We'll take a quick break and be back to tell you about the new pitcher when we return on the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese back at Vol State, where we have a Summit Concrete call to the bullpen. Cade Sanders on in relief of Cade McKee. Sanders on for his 14th appearance of the year, all in relief. 19 2/3 innings, 21 hits, 16 runs, 12 were earned. Walked 10, struck out 19 batters. 5.49 ERA in for Cade McKee, who gave up 4 hits and so far 4 runs in 3 1/3 innings. Actually only walked 1 batter, did hit another batter. And Tucker Allen steps in with a runner at second base and 1 out. So a tough day for Cade McKee in his last regular season start. Sanders' breaking pitch is tapped foul toward the Pioneers dugout. Full sunshine right now here at the Pioneer Field at the Tim Garrett Baseball Complex. You weren't with us earlier. We had a 36-minute weather delay, put the tarp on the field. And back to action. Fastball is ripped out to left center field. Jake Burris, it looks like he has it measured on the run and makes the catch, tagging on the play is Tate Van Hooser. He moves over to third base now with 2 outs. It's a second fly out to center field for Tucker Allen, brings the top of the order up. Left-handed hitting Irvin Hernandez. Actually, I think Hernandez is a switch hitter. Yes, he is. I was going to say, I think he was batting from the right side earlier. They've got, I think, 2 switch hitters. They do. J.B. Bell, their DH, is also a switch hitter. A runner at third with 2 outs. Pioneers had another key error in the inning. That's 2 so far, both by the left side of the infield. First pitch, strike, breaking pitch, swung on and missed. Sanders has a very, very sharp breaking, either curveball or slider. I can't remember now what he calls it, but I can't keep up with these guys. Splitters. I know you just don't want something that stays straight. Hernandez is 1 for 2. He grounded out in the first, singled and scored in the third inning. Pioneers down 4-0 to Motlow State. There's a ground ball that will just go foul. Landed Gotze make the snag. He'll check it. Quickly counted how many stitches were still on that baseball, and he came up with, Joe, how many on a baseball? Do you know that one?
You know, I used to know. I have no idea now.
And Braden Vineyard looks like he's struggling a bit right here. Not sure what happened. This Coach McGuire will come out along with pitching coach Braden Kale. Whatever it was, Braden said he's okay. We don't need the trainer. We don't need Justin McKinney, the all-world trainer here for Vol State. 108, Joe. There's 108 stitches.
You could tell me 138. I would have to. I couldn't argue with you.
That's another 40-year-old little note that I've carried around with me. Now the tapper softly hit to Matt Hall, throws on the run for out number 3. But the Motlow State Bucks get 2 more on the board and now lead 4-0. Going to the bottom of the 4th, you're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Back at Vol State, we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Pioneers down 4-0. And they will send up 4, 5, and 6. Jace Mizell, Carter Vrabel, and Tanner Bumbelow to face Jake Gully, who is back out after the weather delay. Mizell struck out swinging in the first. Fastball in the inside corner called strike. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors for Motlow State. No runs, 1 hit, and there are 2 errors for the Pioneers. MGM Industries foul ball off to the right side. Tyler Holsworth missing from the press box gang, and Devin Thrain, who has admittedly been falling asleep at the wheel at times. There's a drive out to left field. This might be number 17, and it is. Kiss that one goodbye. The conference leader in home runs is just added to his total. Jace Mizell with number 17 of the year, a solo shot leading off the bottom of the 4th inning. That was an absolute laser. Too bad nobody was on for that shot.
They won't be shut out.
Pioneers this year have gone back to back to back before. Joe Garofalo still with us, got a microphone in his hand, so we can still talk some baseball, Joe.
Yep. Love that. He got his hands out in front. Drove that ball nice, didn't he?
Put a nice swing on a nice pitch, didn't he?
He did. Barreled up on it.
He has had a fantastic year.
Strong kid.
That's 2 hits now for the Pioneers.
Yep. And where's he going on to play from here, Tim?
Jace Mizell will go to Trevecca.
Yeah, great opportunity to finish. He's a local kid.
He is from Metropolis, Illinois. This right here is a somewhat local kid. Carter Vrabel finished his high school at Father Ryan after his dad came up from Houston. He started his high school years, I believe, down in Houston, Texas, but finished at Father Ryan. Carter Vrabel in his 2nd year with Vol State. He hits one too short. Hernandez with Allen running in front of him. Throws in the dirt, but nice stretch and pick by Tate Van Hooser. Retires Carter Vrabel, who's now 1 for 2. He doubled in the 2nd inning.
Nice play at short.
Yeah, that was a very nice play.
Yeah, good feet, good hands.
Vrabel runs well for a big guy, 6'3", about 210, and he runs very well. Got down that line, but a very nice pick. Some shortstops will have trouble with a third baseman running in front of them like that.
Yeah. I was thinking that there was no way to get him. I thought the third baseman would have to cut it off, but dude couldn't get there.
Tanner Bumbelow, who struck out in the 2nd, sees the first pitch out of the strike zone. Bumbelow, I haven't talked directly with Coach about it, but there's a chance he's starting on the mound for game 2. That pitch gets in there for a called strike. 2-way player. Tanner Bumbelow been in there at the DH spot and I think got 3 appearances on the mound. He had a slow start to the season, had an injury as well that he was coming back from. It looked like a changeup that died as it got to the plate. 2 balls and a strike to the John T. Overton, 2-way player, transfer from Cleveland State. Got to hit and pitch up at Cleveland State last weekend. There's a drive down the right field line, but it will hook foul. John Ripel, the assistant coaching at first base for the Pioneers, watches that go between him and base umpire Chris Judkins. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bumbelow. Drives one out to left field. That sends Valdez back, but right in front of the warning track, he makes the catch for out number 2. So with 2 outs and 1 run in, Matt Hall steps to the plate. He grounded out to his counterpart at second base. So Jace Mizell with his 17th home run of the year led off the inning. Pioneers down by 3. Matt Hall squares around the bunt, but pitches high. Third baseman Tucker Allen playing about even with the bag. Van Hooser at first is well back. So it'd be a push bunt toward first base, but not squaring this time, and he pops one up just over the into the outfield grass, and shortstop Irvin Hernandez makes the catch. So 3 straight set down by Jake Gully after the solo shot by Jace Mizell. And we're through 4 innings, scheduled for 7. Pioneers do scratch for a run. 4-1, Motlow State leads. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese, Samuel Park, and special guest Joe Garafola back at Vol State. We move to the top of the 5th inning. Just trying to figure out earned runs here as Cade Sanders comes back out on the mound for a full inning. Came on in relief of Cade McKee, who gave up 4 runs, 2 of which were earned, as we just figured out between innings. Called strike on the inside corner.
He's calling him tight, isn't he, on that inside corner?
This umpire is calling the inside corner more than I've seen anybody else
He's kind
call.
of set up on the inside, too. So
They typically do. 2 balls and a strike now to John Hall, the right fielder. Hall fouls that one at the plate. Count goes 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's 0 for 2. Did reach on an error in the 3rd. Caleb Valdez, left-handed hitter, left fielder on deck. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss on what looked like a cutter that he throws. That fastball had a nice run on it. First strikeout for Cade Sanders. Motlow State scored 2 in the 3rd. Those were unearned runs, and 2 earned runs in the 4th. Of course, after 3 innings, there was the weather delay, and then Motlow State came back out. A walk and a hit batter to start that 4th inning, and a error on a sacrifice bunt doesn't set things up really well for a good defensive inning and putting a 0 on the board. MGM Industries foul ball, and the count goes no balls and 2 strikes.
yeah, he's keeping him there. We just got to get him some support, don't we?
Sanders has retired the 3 batters that he's faced. Misses outside with that one. Jay Charla in left, Jake Burris in center, Jace Mizell in right. Vrabel at 3rd, Huddleston at short, Hall at 2nd, Godsey at 1st. Braden Vineyard catching Cade Sanders, who just struck out. Caleb Valdez looking. Valdez. I think a catcher's interference, does that count as an at-bat? Or is, say, Valdez had a catcher's interference. Sometimes some of these count as hits. I can't. It happens so infrequently
Point.
that I'll have to look that one up. Julius Scarce grounds another one to second base. Hall has to back up on it to get the right hop, and he throws the Eastern Kentucky University commit out at first base. So a 1-2-3 inning for Cade Sanders. And we will go to the bottom of the fifth. Motlow State 4, Vol State 1. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese, Samuel Park, and special guest Joe Garafola, local baseball coach and friend of this broadcaster, is joining us today for the last conference series of the year. Big Jay Charla steps in and leads off the bottom of the fifth for the Pioneers. First pitch he sees down low. Hello to Jake and Delynn Charla, who I'm sure are here in attendance. Big Jay's parents. Charlotte sees a pitch outside. I don't know, about 4 baseballs on the other side of the plate. Called a strike. Hello to his sister Rainey, who's a student at UT Chattanooga. Saw her last weekend up at Cleveland State. And Jay Charlotte now down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. He walked in the second inning, but was stranded at first. Swinging a miss, and down goes Charla. Strikeout number 4 for Jake Gully, who's on the mound in his 5th inning of work. Braden Vineyard, the 9-hole hitter, steps in. He popped out to the second baseman. Nice play by Seibert going toward the foul line behind first baseman Tate Van Hooser. Pitch blocked by Jackson Cothran, who's done the bulk of the catching duties for Motlow State. A year ago when Pioneers faced Motlow down in Tullahoma, Cothran was injured and did not play in that series. Here's a breaking pitch. It gets in there for a called strike. Jake Gully, a sophomore. Florence, Kentucky. MGM Industries foul ball straight back. We're in the 5th inning, and this is time for our Toyota of Gallatin Alumni Spotlight. Today's Pioneer Alumni Spotlight is Dylan Pennick, a right-handed pitcher from Guthrie, Kentucky. As Vineyard fouls another one off. Dylan Pinnock transferred after last year's season to Harding University down in Searcy, Arkansas. A right-handed pitcher, played 2 years for Vol State. His first year was under Ryan Hunt, who's now the coach at Cumberland University, and second year was with Jim McGuire, as Braden Vineyard's doing nothing but losing baseballs on this at-bat.
Good at-bat. Good at-bat.
He ain't out yet, so still good at bat.
Making them work.
But coaches over there saying, that's $3, that's $3, that's $3.
Yep.
Maybe they're not even $3 anymore.
No, they're not.
That one's lifted to shortstop Hernandez. Right step into the grass and makes the catch. That's 2 pop-outs for Braden Vineyard. Each to a middle infielder, and now 2 outs. Ethan Huddleston will step back to the plate.
So you remember, at full count, you guys have all the balls and everything, given to us, man, to work through the season. In Legion Ball, I think there were 100 and change a dozen. So, yeah, it's
Full Count Ministries got to pay for those baseballs too, right?
Well, they do, but you got the good Lord blessing you guys.
That's right.
So,
that's a nice breaking pitch in there for a called strike. Coach Clay Sanders from Hendersonville. Cade Sanders' dad said it's $8 now. he just texted me.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I had heard 9.
I think I
So
saw
you
some
do
stuff. I think I
100
saw some in Academy for 10.
$100 a dozen.
Wow.
And you watch them throw those major league balls out just so they get a little bit.
If it hits the dirt.
Yeah, it's out. And those are, $15, $18 a piece.
No wonder ticket prices are so high, right?
Absolutely.
3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Ethan Huddleston trying to get a 2-out rally going. The top of the lineup, he's 0 for 2. And he will take a walk. That is his 3rd walk of the game for Jake Gully. Brings Jake Burris to the plate. Burris 0 for 1 with one of those walks. We did check, had my crack research staff. I mean, Joe Garofalo is not just another pretty face. He can look up stuff on that phone of yours, right?
Thank God you weren't counting on a pretty face.
He looked up and saw that the catcher's interference is not counted as an at-bat. It's actually considered an error on the catcher. So a pass ball is an error on the catcher, and so is a catcher's interference, which are actually 2 different statistical categories that you'll find. I believe that's the first catcher's interference that we've seen all year.
First one I've ever seen.
Throw over to first base.
It
Ethan
doesn't
Huddleston
happen very
back.
often.
Huddleston 14 of 14 on stolen bases. The Pioneers have only been caught 3 times. And as Gully throws over again to first base, I don't know that the Pioneers have been picked off this year. So as I say that, watch Huddleston.
You're gonna jinx him, Tim. You're gonna jinx him.
I'm gonna say no. I'm not. That pitch just missed. Must have been up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jake Burris hitting .297 coming into today's game. 12 doubles. He's been hot in the last 12 games as well. 15 hits in 12 games, 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 10 RBIs. Has an active 12-game on-base streak that has been extended now to 13-game on-base streak with a walk in the first inning. Anchored down that center field position all year, fouls that one off to the right side. Trees down the first base and right field line here, and on the other side of those trees is the road that leads into the gap distribution center that is just behind the outfield wall in right field and center field. So they just have to walk through a couple trees. There's a shot that knocks the glove off of Jake Gully. And Jake Burris will be safe, and Huddleston will get down to second base safely. There's an infield single, and surely they'll come out and check on Jake Gully on that P that was hit straight back up the middle. Actually, Seibert might have had a shot at making a backhanded grab on that if Gully doesn't get to it, the second baseman. But there's Justin McKinney out from the Vol State dugout. I believe he looks young, but I think he's actually 108, Joe. Look at him.
He does.
He's got a gray beard like you. He's wearing a hat. He probably doesn't have any hair on that head.
Thanks, Steve.
I mean, now that you said you were a
See,
76.
They didn't know I had,
yeah,
they didn't know I had gray hair.
You
Man.
got
Now
Medicare
Now
already?
they do.
You're blind and short?
There you go. Exactly.
Landon Gotze steps
we
in.
We need a break here. Come on. We need a
Gotham,
break.
Huddleston's going to go, and the throw down to third base is not in time.
Yep.
Huddleston will move up on the wild pitch. That is not a stolen base, as some people will show in the stats, but
You're right. Pass ball, stolen base.
yeah, it's either I
wild
couldn't
pitch.
see if it hit the dirt or
Yep.
or it's just a pass ball. So I'm
Yeah.
going to give the catcher a benefit of the doubt. But Burris moves down to second, and now runners in scoring position for Landon Gotze.
Base hit here, Tim, makes it a ball game, doesn't it?
It'll get it a lot closer. And the way Gotze's been driving the ball out of the park, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this game could be tied with one swing of the bat right here. Another changeup looks like blocked by Cawthorn. The count goes 3 balls, no strikes, and Jake Gully is in danger of loading the bases in front of Jace Mizell. Not
Nowhere to put him.
Not something you want to do. There's a 4-pitch walk for Landon Gotze. That is second walk of the inning, 4th of the ball game for Jake Gully, and that brings the home run leader for the Tennessee Community College Athletic Association Conference. He hit his 17th home run, leading off the 4th inning, and he steps to the plate with 2 outs and the bases juiced here in the bottom of the 5th. And timeout will be called. Jackson Cawthorn will walk out to the mound and get maybe a little bit of time for who's warming up down there. We'll see if we can get our staff on that.
Great team.
Griffin Meeker, sidearm pitcher from Manchester, Tennessee, Coffee County Central High School, warming up.
Maybe Kent
In the
Colby looks like. That's how he drops down.
Kent Colby. Pittsburgh Pirates guy.
You're
Where was
right.
Tekulve from? Was he a Cincinnati guy? He might have been a Cincinnati guy.
That's your team.
Yeah, no, but I
You would
think
have remembered.
well, but he wasn't. He didn't play for the Reds.
No, he played
just
for the Pirates, right?
so. All right, here we go. Jace Mizell right up on the plate. Oh, he takes a hack, comes up empty. He was counting on Jake Gully wanting to get ahead with a fastball, and he just missed that pitch. Big spot in the game right here. Pioneers down 4-1. Looking to drive in some 2-out runs. Fastball misses outside. Ethan Huddleston, who walked, is at third base. Jake Burris hit a line drive right back to the pitcher. It knocked his glove off for an infield single. Is down at second, and Landon Gotze took a 4-pitch walk, standing just a few paces off the base. Nice block by Jackson Cawthorn on something off speed there. That didn't look like a regular fastball. Jace Mizell ahead in the count. 2 balls and a strike. On deck is Carter Vrabel.
Yeah, he don't want to make a mistake on this guy.
Mizell started to go, but that pitch is above the letters, and he takes it for ball 3.
He's got to put something. He's got to put something in the zone now.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're just gonna end up costing yourself in the long run. You got Mizell on the plate, and then you got Vrabel behind him. This is not where you want to be with a lot of runners on base.
Valdez in left field playing very deep. 3-1 pitch. Gets in there for a called strike. Right at the knees on the outside corner. That's a good pitch. And we'll have a full count. Ministries, a full count. The runners will be going.
Runners are moving.
If he gets a ball in a gap, it should be 3 runs. And that pitch is high. Jace Mizell will get a walk and an RBI, and Pioneers score another run. You know, I did not say when Jace Mizell hit that home run, that was the Framework Athletics first run of the game.
There you go.
So now that we've had our second run of the game, I'll get that little tidbit in there. So the 5th walk, 3rd walk of the inning, and that will bring out head coach Dan McShay, a former pitcher for the Ole Miss Rebels. Dan McShay, head coach in his 17th year at Motlow State. He's also the interim athletic director. Now, how long are you the interim athletic director if you've been the athletic director for over a year? At some point in time, don't you just become the athletic director?
They remove the interim, don't they?
Yeah, it still shows online that he's the interim athletic director, but Ethan Huddleston comes in to score. Burris moves to 3rd, Gotze to 2nd, and Jace Mizell down to first base. And the only man to hit a home run with bases loaded this year for the Pioneers, stepping to the plate, Carter Vrabel. He has, to my recollection, the only grand slam, and looks like we are getting a Summit Concrete call to the bullpen. So we'll take a quick break, tell you about the new pitcher when we return on the Vol State Sports Network. Summit Concrete call to the bullpen for Motlow State Bucks. Griffin Meeker on in relief of Jake Gully. Meeker, his 20th appearance of the year, has a 5-2 record. 3 saves, 34 innings, has struck out 34 batters. Opponents hitting .237 off of the right-handed sophomore from Manchester, Tennessee, 6'1", 195 pounds. He comes in with bases loaded and 2 outs, 1 run already in, and Carter Vrabel nearly gets plunked for a harm and an RBI. Vrabel, one of the leaders in hit by pitches for Vol State. He's 1 for 2 and has been hitting the ball on the button. But I don't know. He hadn't faced too many side armors as that breaking pitch gets in there for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Pioneer third baseman. Vrabel, 8 home runs, 31 RBIs. as I believe the only grand slam for the Pioneers this year. Another chance right here. Swings at that pitch and pops it up straight back, and that's an MGM Industries foul ball. It gets on the other side of the stands. I didn't hear any aluminum banged off to my left side. Mother Jennifer probably sitting in a chair out beyond the left field fence out there. A lot of folks like to sit out there, although they have to have the side view of the Toyota Gallatin scoreboard. Another foul ball back to the right of the press box. So 3 walks in the inning by Jake Gully, who went 4 2/3, give up 3 hits. So far, 2 runs, responsible for all 3 runners on base. He struck out 4, walked 5, did give up a home run, a solo shot to Jace Mizell. Sidearm pitch, grounded to third. Tucker Allen will smother that one and run to third base and step on the base for the 3rd out. Pioneers score 1 on 1 hit and leave 3 on base. 1 run closer, down 4-2. As we move to the 6th, you're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Top of the 6th inning, Motlow State sends 5, 6, and 7 to face Cade Sanders. First pitch, a cutter in there for a called strike. Gabe Seibert lined out to left field, walked and scored in the 4th inning. Sanders came on in relief in the 4th inning. He's retired all 5 batters that he's faced. Now gone 2-1 to the second baseman for the Bucks, Jackson Cothran, on deck. Pioneers missed a golden opportunity to get right back into the game. At least more than 4-2. Had actually a chance to go ahead. But Griffin Meeker came on and got a bases loaded ground out to end the inning. Gabe Seibert walks for the 2nd time in the ball game. First walk given up by Cade Sanders. Let's see if Jackson Cothran's going to be trying to lay a sac bunt down. Motlow State already, I guess, a successful sacrifice bunt. Got the runners over, and ball was also booted. He does not square and pitches outside. J.B. Bell, who's on deck, laid one down to third base. And Carter Vrabel was not able to get that in the glove. Ended up leading to a couple runs. Throw over to first base. Seibert back in time. Another throw over to first base. Same result. Motlow State Doesn't run a lot. They're 9th in the league in stolen bases with 57. Been caught 12 times. Runner bluffs the go but does not. Pitch is called a strike. Vineyard with the left-handed hitting Jackson Cothran up doesn't have the vision to see if the runner's actually going until he's halfway down to second base. But Seibert, just a bluff, another throw over to first base, not in time. Seibert has 8 stolen bases, has not been caught this year. Team leader is John Hale with 17. Julius Scares has 12. He starts to go, pitch out, throw down to first base. Not in time. Vineyard's got a couple pickoffs this year. Seibert able to get back just in time. Actually, each of the catchers have 1 pickoff. He and Caleb Hawkins each have 1 apiece. Vineyard has thrown out 5 would-be base stealers in 47 attempts. Been several that he's never even thrown down. Fastball misses high and outside.
Yeah, a lot of times, Tim, they steal on the pitcher on the move.
Yeah. 3-1 has popped up. That should be playable.
Yeah.
Jay Charlotte in and over toward the line, comes in and makes the catch. He does not like throwing to the cutoff man. There's Ethan Huddleston that's 20 feet away from him. He throws it all the way to Matt Hall. I know Huddy's probably saying, Jay, throw the ball to me. Don't throw it all the way to the bag. That is out number 1.
Number 6, J.B. Bell.
J.B. Bell, who's 0 for 1, grounded out to third and reached on an error on the sacrifice bunt. Steps in, a switch hitter hitting from the left side for the first time in this ball game. Thanks for joining us on Channel 19 cable and on the YouTube network. Runner goes. Pitch is called a ball. Throw down to second base is not handled by Huddleston. That'll be the 9th stolen base of the year for Gabe Seibert. Saw a safe sign given by the home plate umpire as the throw was going down. I think that safe sign is to tell everyone that the batter did not interfere with the throw. Bell not attempting to bunt here with 1 out and a runner at second base. Head coach Dan McShay down at third base. Sanders paying a lot of attention as Bell swings and misses on that breaking pitch inside. J.B. Bell came in hitting .289. Playing in only his 22nd game. He has 13 hits, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. Fouls that one off to the left side. That will get out of play into the parking lot. J.B. Bell is a second-year player for Vol State. Sophomore from Buford, Georgia. Transfer from Georgia Southern University. I believe that's where Carter Bolt is going to be going next year to continue his nursing school. He's a right-handed pitcher in the bullpen for the Pioneers.
That's Division II, isn't it? Division II school.
You know, it might be. I don't really know for sure. Bell fouls that one off. Two balls, 2 strikes. 1 out and a runner at second base. There's a breaking pitch in there for a called strike. Beautiful pitch. That froze J.B. Bell.
He set that one up, didn't he?
Yeah, 3rd strikeout for Cade Sanders. And Tate Van Hooser is 2 for 2. Steps in the box.
Now batting, number 32, Tate Van Hooser.
2 outs. Runner at second base. There's a check swing. Foul ball to the Motlow State dugout. Van Hooser singled and scored in the third and drove in 2 runs with a single to left field in the fourth. He has figured heavily into the Motlow State offense. Swing and a miss on a high fastball there. Now down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. 64 degrees at game time. Breaking pitch misses outside. Just saw that I had a text from Reagan Smith up at the softball complex broadcast an hour ago that I'm just now getting to. He's looking for a charger for their laptop up there.
A little bit late, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
That
Two
might
ball-
explain why softball's not up and running stream.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner at second base. Sanders tried to put a little giddy up on that one. It missed low, and we'll have a full count. Ministries full count. 1 for 2 on full count first pitch foul balls today. Right at 54%. We've now had 200 occasions. This is the 200 if he swings. He does not swing. Had a ball low and inside. The base was open, so not really harmful right now, but you have the home run leader for Motlow State stepping to the plate. Second walk of the inning puts runners at first and second with Tucker Allen stepping to the plate. He's had 2 flyouts to center field. Maybe he's trying to measure that 380-foot center field wall, but it's a high wall there. It takes a poke to get it over that.
That's a good pop, no doubt.
Big batter's eye out there. He takes a healthy cut at that.
Yep.
Breaking pitch comes up empty. We used to call that a JV hack. That's what my son called that. You take one from the heels,
There you
taking
go.
a JV hack.
He didn't get cheated on
Little
it, did he?
junior varsity action. You wouldn't do that at varsity, but there's a smash up the middle, and Huddleston will get there and throw all the way to first base
Nice play.
to get Tucker Allen. Nice play by Ethan Huddleston. That ball died when it got out there up the middle. I thought that was a little harder hit, but a ground out and no runs, no hits, no errors. 2 runners left on base. We're through 5.5, scheduled for 7 innings, so the Pioneers have 2 more cracks. Want to get after it here in the bottom of the 6th. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese, Samuel Park, and special guest Joe Garafola here for the bottom of the 6th inning. Griffin Meeker out on the mound, and he will fire a first pitch to Tanner Bumbelow wide of the mark. High fly ball to center field. Medium depth. Scarce will come in and collect for out number 1. Looks like the softball game 1 is up and going. They're playing in the bottom of the first inning. You can catch that one on the Vol State Sports Network YouTube channel as well. I think they've got, should have a broadcaster up there. Reagan Smith should be handling that. See Anaya Boone stepping in. Matt Hall will hit one off the handle, and Griffin Meeker will make the play. So 3 pitches in, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
His ball tails in. Got some movement on it, doesn't it?
He got jammed. He definitely did. You know, those sidearm guys, man, they make that ball do everything. It's like flipping a Frisbee up there. Big Jay Charlo steps in. He lines one down that left field line, but it will be caught in the bullpen by, is that Drew Webster down there, or is that Drew Plummer? Drew Plummer, a fellow Summit High School boy with Devin Thrain. Down there warming up pitchers. Nice play by Plum. A 1 pitch. Misses outside. I knew there was a reason I was looking at my phone. I was going to look and see what the current temperature was after that rain came in.
67.
It's actually gone up with the sun that's come out.
Warming up.
Currently 67 degrees. That's what we need up on that Toyota Gallatin scoreboard as a temperature reading.
Yeah.
There's a place in the upper right-hand corner. That's the hit and the error.
They have pitch count up there, right?
They don't.
No.
3 balls, 1 strike
Yeah.
now. But thanks to Eric Carr and Jake Thompson across the street, the general manager and general sales manager at Toyota of Gallatin, for their contribution and donation and support to Vol State Athletics.
That is beautiful, isn't it?
It is a beautiful scoreboard.
Absolutely.
Big Jay Charlo on base for the 2nd time. He's drawn 2 walks. That's the first walk by Griffin Meeker, who's on in relief of Jake Gully, who went 4 2/3, give up 3 hits, 2 runs that were earned. Walked 5, struck out 4. And now Braden Vineyard steps to the plate with 2 outs. Let's see if the Pioneers can put together some 2-out magic as they did in the 5th. Breaking pitch, slow breaking pitch over the plate. Vineyard popped out twice in his first 2 plate appearances. Has hit a bit of a wall here his sophomore year. Pops up again, and Van Hooser over to the fence. That will get into the grass. Out of play. Vineyard came out on fire. Won the starting job. Partly because of, maybe more than partly because of his bat, but has cooled off here in the last couple weeks. Came in hitting .210. Runner's going, and slices. There's a hit and run. Goes into right field. Jay Charlo will slow down just a little bit, say howdy to the second base bag, and then move on to third base.
Excellent.
On the 0-2 hit and run. You think,
Wasn't that
that's
pretty?
actually
That was
no
beautiful.
balls, 2 strikes, Joe?
Tim, you called it, didn't you?
Well, I don't think I did, honestly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Love to see that.
Well, it brings up leadoff batter Ethan Huddleston looking for his first hit of the contest. He walked and scored in the 5th. Has 2 outs and runners at
Two-out rally.
1st and 3rd. Let's see if he can put a ball in a gap or drive one out of here. I'm sure if you asked him, he's going to say, I hate sidearmers too. That's why they're on rosters all over the place. Pioneers have their own sidewinder, and maybe warming up in the bullpen or already hot and ready, Landon Tucker.
There
And
you go.
Huddleston will take one off the hip. Base is now loaded.
All right. Here
And
we
brings
go.
up clutch hitter Jake Burris, the grandson of Roger and Connie McDaniels, who are here in attendance for today's game. Huddleston's 9th bruise of the year, takes over, actually ties Landon Godsey with the lead with 9 hit by pitches. Jake Burris, who is 1 for 2, he singled. Taps one foul toward the Pioneers dugout.
Base hit here, we got a ball game.
Big clutch hitter is Jake Burris, redshirt sophomore playing in, let's see, what game is that? That is 120th or something. So he looks at a breaking pitch outside. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. 121st game of his Vol State career. He had 76 games in 2 different seasons coming into this season. He smashes one just foul down that third base line. Now down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Burris came here in 2021, and in a year that is as though it never happened for junior college players. So missed on a fastball inside. That's one you don't want to take off of your leg, you know. That's not one you want to walk into there, is
it? You just take it off the shoulders, man, not the knees.
No, or the shins.
Yep.
Jake, the son of Sherry Burris. Got a younger brother, Noah. And misses with that, and we'll have a full count Ministries.
Right here.
Full count, just as we had. As time is called, Jackson Cawthorn going to go out and talk to Griffin Meeker, relief pitcher.
Runners will be moving on this, Tim.
Just had that last inning with Jace Mizell. He ended up walking. Drove in a run with that walk. See what happens here. Pioneers need some runs. There's a ground ball to short. They have to make the play to first, and that ball is booted by Irvin Hernandez. So an error will keep this inning going. First error of the ball game for Motlow State. Runners were going, and actually Braden Vineyard at second base did not look like he started to go at all. So Huddleston moves to second. Jay Charlo, who started the rally with a walk, comes in to score, and the Pioneers now down 4-3. And Landon Godsey hits one out to right center, and that might be trouble, but the right fielder, John Hall, over in the gap to make the catch for out number 3. Pioneers continue to claw back. That's 1 run in the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Good thing there's a 7th. We're headed there now. Pioneers down 4-3. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network and Channel 19, Comcast Cable. Heading to the top of the 7th inning, Motlow State will send a top of their order to the plate to face Cadro Sanders. I thought I gave him that nickname years ago and found out he'd been called Cadro for a long time. He doesn't really know how it came up, but spent a week in Nicaragua with this young guy, Cade Sanders, on a full count baseball mission trip when he was probably about 12, Joe.
Wow.
Cade Sanders and his dad, Clay, would go down there for week 3, MGM Industries foul ball.
Aren't you guys getting ready to go on another
There
mission
will
trip?
be, are there 5 trips? I think 5 trips this summer. And then Belmont is going down as a team, and I may go on that trip
Nice.
in August. Another foul ball off to the left side from
To
the switch
Nicaragua?
hitting. Yes,
Nice.
to Mazante, where
Yep.
the mission house is for Full Count Ministries, located in
What do the
up
ball
in the
fields
hills.
look like over there?
That pitch misses inside. They look like there's either it's all grass or there's no grass.
Just a field.
Yeah, it's just a field.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's cow patties out there.
Yeah, I understand.
Breaking pitch misses up, and we'll have a Full
Sounds
Count
like
Ministries
the fields
full
we
count.
grew up on.
1 for 3 on full count first pitch foul balls. There's a line drive. The leaping Carter Vrabel snags that one before it gets down into the corner for out number 1. Hernandez now 1 for 4. It brings John Hall to the plate. He's 0 for 3.
Now batting, number 22, John Hall.
From Sycamore High School, Pleasant View, Tennessee. He's somewhat of a local guy. Cutter on the inside corner for called strike. 4-3. Motlow State scored 3 in the second and 2 in the third and 2 in the fourth. Now I can read. Hauled down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. In the bottom of the 7th, the Pioneers will send 4, 5, and 6 as another ground ball to Carter Vrabel, and he throws a bullet to Landon Gotze at first base for out number 2. Pioneers need to keep Motlow State here at 4 and see if they can push 2 across. Mizell, Vrabel, and Bumbleow, who are due up in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Exactly where you want to be.
Yep. Middle of the order. Caleb Valdez, he doubled in the first inning, reached on a catcher's interference, and struck out looking. He is 1 for 2. Looks at a first pitch in there for a called strike. Valdez, 5'9", 180-pound sophomore from Dalton, Georgia. Leading hitter by average for Motlow State. 1-1 pitch. Missed down low. Sanders take a little walk back behind pitcher's mound and gather himself for the 2-1 offering. Tapper, that will come back to the backstop. Two's wild up on the Toyota Gallatin scoreboard.
Deuces up. Great job on the scoreboard, by the way.
Called strike 3. And Valdez will
showtime
go
now.
down.
It's showtime, Tim.
It's time. Put up or shut up, right?
That's it. This is what you play for right here.
Going to the bottom of the 7th, the Pioneers need 1 to keep playing and 2 to win the ball game. Let's see if they can walk one off here at Pioneer Field at the Tim Garrett Baseball Complex. Pioneers need 1 run. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese, Samuel Park, and our special guest, Joe Garafola, has been with us since the second inning.
Here we go.
Man, Joe, you're going to have to, take a nap or something this
That's all right.
afternoon
It's
later
all good.
on.
I can't take a nap now.
No.
All right, we're at the bottom of the seventh, looking for some heroics from a Pioneer. Jace Mizell steps in. He looks to ambush the first pitch from Griffin Meeker and fouls it over to the Pioneer dugout. Mizell with his 17th long ball of the year in the fourth, a solo shot. He has both of the RBIs in today's game, or two. That one is going foul. See, do we have another RBI? I don't think we do. I think that was on the error. That's right. The run in the sixth inning was scored via the error. Strikeout, a home run, and a walk. Pioneers looking for another big fly. As Mizell now down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. There's a strike called on the outside corner. Nice pitch by Meeker. Down goes Mizell. He goes down looking. First strikeout for Meeker. Brings Carter Vrabel to the plate. 1 for 3. Extended his hitting streak to 9 games in the second inning with a double to right center field. On deck, Tanner Bumblelow as Scarce moves over into left center field. There's a fastball in the outside corner.
Yeah, tough pitch right there.
Telling you, when you're just not used to seeing the that sidearm delivery, it takes a little bit, but
Yeah,
Meeker's been out there now for several innings. So.
Yeah, comes out of a different shoot, different angle, hard to pick up sometimes.
Vrabel was the first batter that Griffin Meeker faced in the 5th inning. Vrabel grounded into a fielder's choice. Pops that one up in the infield. Irvin Hernandez stumbles on pitcher's mound, but makes the catch for out number 2.
Yeah, we need some 2-out heroics
Now,
here, Tim.
it'd be fitting, right, as Pioneers scored the last 2 runs with 2 outs.
Fitting but comical.
Tanner Bumbelow's 0 for 3 steps in. He's struck out and he's flown out twice.
Yeah, we need something in the gap here.
Bumbelow's first collegiate hit was a 3-run home run at Cumberland. Game tying bomb right here probably
Be nice.
be pretty acceptable.
Yes, it would be.
He
That's
drives
it.
one
There
into
you
right
go.
field for a base hit. There's the tying run, and we'll have a pinch hitter as Jacob Messer steps to the plate to hit for Matt Hall here with 2 outs and a runner at first base. And we'll have a pinch runner. Corbin Overbay will come in and run for Tanner Bumblelow.
He's a good-sized kid.
It's time. It's Messer time.
It
Jacob
is.
Messer, 3rd-year redshirt sophomore, has struggled. Definitely, according to not the year that he thought he was going to have, but he can make things well here with a timely hit. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Pioneers down 4-3.
Gotta make this guy work out there. There you go.
Pitch on the inside corner, called strike. Matt Hall went 0 for 3. Jacob Messer hitting from the left side to get that lefty on righty matchup, and he swings and misses. Now down to the last strike. Pioneers only have 4 left-handed hitters, and we've seen 3 of them in this game. Jay Charlotte, Tanner Bumblelow, and now Jacob Messer. Another left-handed hitter on deck, Jay Sharla. Either hoping to get an at-bat or hoping to high-five Jacob Messer on a walk-off home run.
Sending him. I knew that.
There's a ground ball that's gloved by Meeker, and he will underhand to Van Hooser, and this ball game will end on a ground out.
Wow.
And Motlow State will take game one, a tight ball game. Motlow State will win 4-3. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap this up after we come back. You're listening to the Vol State Sports Network. Tim Reese back at the Tim Garrett Baseball Complex, where the Pioneers have just been defeated by Motlow State 4-3. Pioneers will fall to 29-20 overall, but more importantly, they fall to 13-12 in conference play. Motlow State moves to even at 12-12 in conference and 24-19 overall. We'll have another game here in about 25 minutes. Game 2 will be played. The Motlow State Bucks 4 runs, 4 hits, 1 error, and they left 5 runners on base. Vol State 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, and they leave 10 runners on base. Winning pitcher, according to unofficial stats, Griffin Meeker moves to 6-2. Cade McKee will take the loss, fall to 4-4. And this game took 2 hours and 14 minutes with
that's including the weather delay.
with a well, actually that's taken out the 36-minute, 36-minute weather delay that we had in the middle of the game. So Pioneers will look to bounce back here in game 2. They need 1 win in the 3-game series to stay in 6th place. I believe Tanner Bumbleow will be on the hill for the Pioneers. But I want to thank Joe Garofolo for joining us for game 1, local coach here.
Yeah, well, Tim, it's been my pleasure, man. Love being out here. You know, we love to talk baseball. Even at church, we talk baseball.
That's right.
So, yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to spend time with you guys, and look forward to the opportunity to do it again.
Well, you're always welcome out here, and so I want to get you interested in Vol State athletics and sports and baseball, and so thanks for taking me up on my invite to come out here.
Absolutely.
Bring your buddy Jerry Bell.
I will tell you, next time we're out, I'll let Jerry know that again, and we'll love to be here, and we'll talk ball.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right. That's Joe Garofolo has joined us on the Vol State Sports Network here on YouTube and Twitter, and a very infectious personality that he has, and a kind man, and if you have an encounter with Joe Garofalo and you don't come away with it with a smile on your face, then somebody's licked the red off your candy, and
check your pulse.
that's no good. Yeah, he's a positive guy, and one that I'd want my son to be around. No question about it. So, well, we'll come back shortly with game 2 and hope for a little better outcome for the Pioneers. So for right now, for Athletic Director Bobby Hudson and Head Coach Jim McGuire and Samuel Park, this is Tim Reese saying so long for now. We'll be back in about 20 minutes. You're listening to the Vol